It's giant media corporations or academic publishers who are incredibly abusive. Frequently, actually, authors of academic publishing don't get any money at all, and it all goes to the journals. But that's a whole other story. But I guess what I'm going to talk about has to do with the morality of all of this. I think that pushing copyright forth as a moral issue is what gets people to comply with policies that are really ridiculous, that people's actual experience. I don't know. You just can't if your mission is to share information. I just don't see how these contracts and copyright laws can be justified. In the case of Sita Sings the Blues, I'm just starting in the middle of another presentation. My film, Sita Sings the Blues, includes music that was written and recorded in the 1920s. The recordings are in the public domain everywhere except possibly New York State, which means I may have to ban it in New York State, but that's a small problem compared to the underlying compositions and melodies, which are not in the public domain anywhere. And they all belong to, they primarily belong to Warner Chappell, EMI, Sony, Thunder's Gold America. Not authors. All the authors are dead. They belong to big media conglomerates. And the main reason that owning this stuff benefits them is not because they're a source of income for them. It's because that they can eliminate competition by owning all this stuff. If these corporations own all of our shared culture, then when independent artists try to build on shared culture, we are excluded from being able to share our media. After I made Sita Sings the Blues and was going through this nightmare of trying to make it legal for people to actually see it, I saw the film Wall-E, the Disney Pixar film. And they used a clip of music from Hello Dolly. And they get to do that. They get to do that because they have millions of dollars. My film was illegal. It's legal now, anyway. So I released it ultimately under Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike license. This is known as a copyleft license. It is not perfect. There is no perfectly free way to release work in our copyright regime. In our copyright regime, everything is copyright by default. There's no registry. It's kind of a mess. I chose this license. It has one restriction, and one restriction only, which is that you can't put further restrictions on the work. And I acknowledge that that is a restriction. In an ideal world, I would be able to free my work with no restrictions at all, but there is this one restriction that says no further restrictions. And the reason that restriction is on it is because we live in a world where everything is copyrighted by default. And there are all these abuses of copyright. Actually, I did use that restriction recently with this Netflix deal. And I should say that I had no direct dealing with Netflix. My Netflix carries Sita DVDs for rental, physical DVDs. The Sita DVDs are not encrypted. There's no DRM on them. DRM, by the way, it stands for either digital rights management or digital rights mismanagement or digital restrictions management, or various other things. But it's bad. It's basically spyware and malware that goes along with the content that disables your computer. It keeps your computer from doing things that a healthy computer could do. And it does this because the same big media corporations that own all of our shared culture, they also own studios and distribution channels, and they really, really don't like the idea of people having, any control over the culture that they enjoy. Anyway, the Netflix, in addition to carrying the DVDs, through 2 layers of middlemen, someone let me know that they wanted to carry Sita Sings the Blues on their video on demand service. It's a great service. It's very convenient, but everything has DRM on it. And it was really a hard decision for me to make, but I ultimately decided I could not endorse a release of Sita Sings the Blues that had overt DRM. So, and that, that's the one restriction I do. So I'm not, there's no way I can be pure. I so want to be like purely free. I'm so free. I don't know how I can do that in this world. Very quickly, free license means that Sita can go out in the world. These are like descendants of Sita Sings the Blues. They're all free. This is a typical way that Sita goes out in the world. This is just some Sita-based artwork made by somebody else. She made cards. She design is cute. There is a Bangkok clothing line called their 2009 spring collection Sita Sings the Blues, and apparently they played Sita Sings the Blues on the catwalk. They didn't need my permission. It's fine. I wish the clothes looked nicer than I did. But that's cool. That's fine. And all it did was it raised awareness of my film Sita Sings the Blues. This is a Reuters photo that I'm using without permission. Some festival in, I think it was in Hyderabad. That's Ravana. That's a big statue of Ravana from Sita Sings the Blues. And someone made this sculpture. Probably, I don't know what it's made of. And it's cool. Doesn't hurt me at all. If I hadn't released Sita under the free license, this would have been illegal. And not that I know if it being illegal would have made any difference. People that made it, but I think that's really cool. I love seeing the film go out into the shared culture. To me, this is a mark of success, and it gives me great joy as an artist. This is another example of reuse of Sita Sings the Blues. These are posters that contain, every single frame of Sita Sings the Blues is in this poster. Made by Bill Cheswick, came up with this great way to make posters of movies, but he can't do it because he'd have to get permission from every single one from these big studios. So he did it with Sita Sings the Blues. He could actually do this with any movie, physically and theoretically, but he can't legally. This is a bike wheel display, the Monkey Electric bike wheel display. It's a strip of LEDs, and when you spin the bike, you put it on a spoke, and when you spin the bike wheel, it turns into a moving video display. In developing this, they used clips from Sita Sings the Blues because they knew that they would not be further restricted, that they could freely develop this really cool thing. And if they used a typical clip, they have no incentive to use a normal copyrighted clip, because then if they tried selling their bike wheel or had a video of how the bike wheel works and used one of those other clips, they'd be infringing copyright. So the fact that I released the film under this Creative Commons share alike license helped them, and that helps me because it's cool. And this is one of those uses that I never could have imagined this or the bike or the every frame of a movie poster. And what's interesting with releasing work freely is most people have these nightmare scenarios of what's going to happen to their work if they release it freely. Like, what if it's used for hate speech? And what if it's turned into porn? And what if it's, I don't even, just these horrible scenarios. The horrible scenarios are really easy to imagine, and they don't happen. The amazing scenarios I could never have imagined, and they're happening. So I've really benefited from this release. I've also benefited monetarily, and I'm going to show you how. So the film is free. It's not free as in free beer. It is free as in free speech. Unfortunately, English only has this word free. In other languages, there's the word libre. That's the kind of free I'm talking about. When I released it for free, people were like, don't you like money? And it's like, yes, I love money. I love money. I also like freedom. So it's free as in free speech, free markets, that kind of free. So the theory behind my Sita Sings the Blues empire is that content is free. This is a river with zeros and ones. It's free, it's flowing freely, and the more it flows, the more, life flourishes around it. Containers are not free. So, imagine you have free water. Imagine your business is selling vessels, is selling, like these, for example, these eco bottles. This is actually a Sita Sings the Blues eco bottle. Very valuable because I can put tap water in it, and I can feel good about myself for not wasting all those little plastic bottles. The fact that tap water is free increases the value of this. How useful that I have something that can, capture tap water. If tap water weren't free or available, this would, not be nearly as useful. So this is worth $20 if anyone wants to order one. But it's valuable because